Maitland manages one of the oldest farms in the Konnongorring district. He's been instrumental through his initiatives in addressing soil quality issues and is a mentor in the community, helping farmers adopt practices to improve soil health.
The farm we're operating is called Berwicky in the locality of Konnongorring. 4,422 hectares is total. Arable cropping is 3,800. So we do run sheep because they run across that non-arable country, and 60% of the arable is put down to cereals, predominantly wheat. This property was purchased by my grandfather in 1922, but I understand it was used primarily for a few years for collecting horses for World War I. They were corralled here and trained, and then they were taken away from here to wherever they were shipped from, the Middle East mostly. My grandfather was actually a railway man and selected this property because my grandmother was off the land in England. My grandmother was the farmer, or farmeress. She used to run chooks and send eggs and cream. She used to milk cows and send the cream away on the train. My dad had 5 boys, and he was going to set us all up on farms. So he didn't spend a lot of money on farm, he just bought farms around the area.
Soil acidity is an emerging issue for many farmers in the Wheatbelt today. Growing crops on a continual basis over many years draws calcium from the soil, or in the case of legumes, has an acidifying effect. Soil acidity needs to be addressed to improve soil quality and increase yields.
Soils are becoming more acid. We're told it's due to the use of fertiliser and growing lupins, etc., etc. All sorts of reasons they come up with. So yeah, that's a big job now, is spreading lime to try and get your pH back up. We cart lime in from over the coast and we spread it ourselves, a couple of tonne per hectare. The pH, if it gets down around 4.5, 4.8, not only does it have a bit hard on the yields, it also lets the feral weeds in much easier. If you can get your pH back up to 5.5, balance itself out much better. But it's a big cost carting that stuff over here and spreading it. That's the major cost, is freight.
Maitland was the founder of the Davey Catchment group with 12 other local farmers, and they are responsible for the adoption of a range of agroforestry practices to make productive use of unproductive sandy soil.
Got lots of water coming in via 9 creeks. The lever's one, the Davey Creek, and it travels down through to the Mortlock River. And we're right in the middle of this catchment. That's the reason we set it up, because the soil was starting to deteriorate. And luckily we had a good sponsor, and away we went with tree growing and fencing off remnants. And, that was 24 years ago. But the landscape has changed. I could encourage our neighbours to hold as much water back as they could, so flooding us out. Not so much surface flooding, but the underground movement of water that is where the salt seems to come up. About 10 years after Davey Catchment formed, there was 3 neighbours here said the paddocks are a bit sandy and the yields weren't up to scratch. Can we try a tree crop? And the suggestion came up, of course, being a bit of a sandy patch, so I'll try some pines. So, and as you can see, this is a Monterey pine row. There's rows all the way along, different rows. They've only been in for about 12 years, 1999, so it's a little bit early yet to draw a conclusion, because they're all looking pretty good. There should be a lot more research thought gone into what trees are needed, but then it was just grow trees in those days, and luckily we did set up quite a nice plantation of trees down there. Our other major tree crop was Uncinata, Melaleuca uncinata, the brushwood fencing. This area of Uncinata behind me was planted about 6 years ago with the help from Tim Emmett and funding from the Avon Catchment Council and Wheatbelt NRM, and it's looking quite promising actually. It's never been cropped to wheat. It was cleared but never cropped to wheat. It was marginal type of country, hand oats and barley to a degree, but we've chosen to go for timber agriculture and prepared to give this a go. Quite a vast area of saltbush which is growing in cohesion with this. As time goes by, we'll decipher which is best profit margin. I would say that the saltbush, for my liking at the moment, would be the winner, unless somebody's going to suddenly start buying brushwood fences, then we'll start cutting this stuff. All the trees do is fill your rainwater gutters up.
All over the fences.
All over fences, yeah, and roads.
Since undertaking agroforestry, Maitland has made a decision to move away from growing trees to perennial pastures to address emerging salinity issues and provide fodder for stock.
Saltbush is much easier to grow, and you can see the sheep really benefit from it. We put in a trial about 20 years ago, saltbush trial, because it was all pretty new when we started. A little bit we did show good encouragement to the trees we're planting. You're cropping across a salon little area, and they'll take the tree planter out and seed that. It might only be a patch as big as this patio, up and back, and that tends to dry that area out, and then a year or two down the track, just crop across it anyway. Just to illustrate what a growth of saltbush can do as far as where there's no saltbush here, as far as the water logging goes and the water build-up, as you can see, the water is pretty bad out here. It just stops up against the edge of the saltbush, and the saltbush is holding the water under control. We just had 150 points of rain, or 37 mil, last night, and here we are very early in January 2013, so I don't know whether it's going to be a wet year or it'll dry out and have another dry winter. The saltbush planted is Old Man is the high stuff, and the low one is Rivermore. There's a little bit of low wavy leaf, but that's the majority. This was planted about 17, 18 years ago. Yeah. We learned more off the saltbush trials than you just can't plant saltbush out there as seed. We learned why they wouldn't grow out there, so we could get them going, in our shade houses here.
This is the framework of the shade house where we plant saltbush. Come early February, we will put the shade cloth on, and we will start to water these areas so we can get any weeds to come up. And so it's really nice and damp when we plant. We plant the seed in March. My son gets this saltbush from some of the plants that are out in the paddock, and we spread the saltbush seed over these, and then we have a mix of a bit of sand and potting mix, and we put it over the top, and then we have to keep that damp then. We plant them out in July, but before that, probably about May, we will take the shade cloth off, and so then the saltbush are a lot stronger.
That's an ideal size to plant, and they go out into the paddock like that and then dropped in with the tree planter. The sheep ate it and they're still alive, so we presume that it's going okay. You don't graze them, they grow up, they cabbage out up top, and then they put everything in up to the sort of canopy up there instead of the bottom.
They go woody.
And they go woody, yeah. You run a few sheep to chew your weeds down a bit. About 2,500 ewes.
Yeah.
One reason we went away from wool sheep to meat sheep is to lessen our problems. Costs are too high, hard to get labour. That's one reason we put them on a boat, but the greenies won't let you, and get rid of them and have no sheep. We would all love that dairy, that's for sure. But what's your chemical bill going to be?
Maitland was a forerunner in the practice of growing and propagating saltbush. His foresight to address soil health issues on his property over the last 24 years has seen Maitland become a mentor to many farmers in the Wheatbelt addressing similar issues.